graphing it, you are grouping the data. So you're organising it through grouping it, and we group it by the leaves. Okay? So in this number 1, for instance, the leaves are the units, aren't they? Right? And the 10s are repeated. So for instance, I know that 1, 9 and 1, 8, 19 and 18, they share the same 10s, so I could group them. So I'm basically grouping them into 10s. Now you could choose, if you've got lots of data, you might choose to have more options in your stem. Does that make sense? But that's where the key becomes really important, to explain to someone what you're actually doing. So it says here, show this information in an ordered stem and leaf diagram. So just to go through it, what would we do as the key?
The key we would do like 4-2 equals.
So 4 line 2
equals 42.
Okay. All right. And then I need to look at what is my minimum value, what is my maximum value that I need to put into my stem and leaf. So what's the minimum number?
17.
17, not, yeah. So the minimum is 17, the maximum is
42.
42. Okay. So I look at my stem and I decide, well, I need 10s. My first 10 that I need is 110. Yeah. You do. Yeah. So we've got 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, normally, what I would say is you do a stem and leaf diagram twice to make it efficient. All right. So, because they want it ordered, I would actually do a little thing up here: 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I would just do it in a non-ordered way. So, for instance, 19, I'm going to put a 9, then 18, I'm going to put an 8. I'm going to cross them off as I go. 20, I'll put a 0. 25, a 5. 37. Now this one's not ordered. It's just making sure that I've got all of the numbers included. And you notice how I'm lining them all up. 17, 29, 20. I'm going to run out of space, but that's all right. 42. 23, 37. So why do you think I've chosen to do it unordered up there, just roughly? T-Ray?
To make sure you have all the numbers next to those at once you write it to list.
Yeah, exactly. It's so easy when you're trying to write them down in order out from a whole list to miss one. Okay? Now what I can do, you see, now, because they're in order, but they're already grouped into their 10s. So actually all I need to do is rearrange the units in each 10. So for instance, for the 1s, I know I just have to do 7, 8, 8, 9. So I can do 7, 8, 8, 9. I'm not going to leave myself enough space here. So, but here, for instance, that's done. So I've now got, I have to rewrite because I've spread it out too much. So 7, 8, 8. Then the next one I've got 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 5. So then it's just 3, 7, 7, and 2. Yeah. Got 9. Now what is important is these numbers line up. Can you tell me why? Any ideas?
Maybe.
If I ask you what a stem and leaf diagram is used for, why bother?
Oh, me.
Oh.
The mean, I don't need them lined up.
Median.
The median, actually, I don't even need them. I need them in order, but I don't need them lined up. Do you remember how to find the median from the stem and leaf diagram?
Also, the top and the bottom, one by one.
You could do it that way. Anyone got a more mathematical way to find the middle number?
You find the mean and then.
No, we don't find the mean and then the median. No, definitely not. Zoe, you going to say something? No? So the median is which average? How do we find it?
The middle number.
The middle number. So like you said, we could cross off the first and the last and keep going through until we end up with the middle. However, there is a more effective way, which is how many numbers are there in my list? 15. There are 15 numbers. So what's the middle of 15 numbers?
7.5.
So what? Well, 7.5 is when you cut them into two pieces. That's not the middle number, and that's something we need to be aware of. So actually, what we can do is this: we take the number of numbers, we add 1 to that, and then divide it by 2. Have you done that before? No?
Oh,
Well,
yeah,
this
I've heard that
works
before.
because what I can do, if there are 15 numbers, I do 15 plus 1, divide by 2, actually gives me the 8th number. Alright? If I take the 8th number, that's the middle. Now, if I ended up with a decimal answer, that's halfway between two numbers. Right. Yeah?
You use the two middle numbers and use the average.
Then, wow, be careful with that word, Thibaut. What's an average? How do I work out the average?
You sum both number. You divide the sum.
What you're telling me is how to do the mean, which is an average. But what's the median? Which is an
Average.
average.
Yeah.
What's the mode?
What's common though?
Which is an average. We actually have 3 averages. So I was chatting to your science teachers and they were saying about the little squiggle on the scatter graphs. You know, we talked about they want that. So one thing I said to them was they need to stop talking about average. Because actually what you talk about is the mean, the median or the mode. So let's just have a quick discussion about that. When people say the average, what do they mean? Which one of the 3? The mean, do you think?
Depends,
Yeah?
I don't know.
Good, you're thinking about it. But most people say the mean. And then I say to them, all right, okay, what's the average cost of a bottle of Coke in Bermuda? That little 500 milliliter. What's the average cost?
You'd say $2, but you wouldn't say like 2.87,
That's the mode.
depending on different.
And how did you... Yeah, all right, so you've already said it's the mode. A lot of people would go, actually, yeah, I know, it's the median because I take the kind of middle,
Yeah.
roughly. You know, it's a bit of a mixture of things, but you never work out the mean, do you? You don't find all the prices, add them all up and divide.
Yeah.
You tend to go pick an actual value that you know. I know, yeah, well, if I go to Modern Mart, it's this, and if I go to Lindo's, it's this, and if I go to Miles, it's this. So which one? I pick the one in the middle. That's, you know, some are cheap, some are more expensive, but roughly in the middle, I pick that price. Yeah. So we don't actually use the mean. So the talking about the average, we shouldn't. We should talk mean, median, or mode. And one thing we've got to talk about in coming lessons is why would you choose which one? You know? And this one, we can work out the mean. We just add all the numbers up, divide. But we're looking at how we find the median. And this is a good way of doing the median because we've already organised them. They're already in order. And you have to do that for the median. We just need to find the middle number. So in this case, because there's an odd number of numbers, the middle number is a number on its own. But as Thibaut was saying, if there's an even number of numbers, if you split it into equal halves, the mean is the middle of the two numbers, that's what we take as the median. Right? But this one's now nice and easy. We've got the 8th number. So we just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the median value is...
22.
What is it not? What would people do? That 2. Good. A lot of people would put the answer 2. If I asked you what the mode was,
20.
No, 37.
Yeah, well, ooh, or 18, yeah.
what would you say?
I would probably say, if you had to choose one, I would say 20 because it's in between the two, but it probably doesn't change anything.
I would say 18.
You'd be right, Tate. The mode is 18, 20, and 37. The mode is one average where we can have 3 of them.
Okay.
All right. Well, we can have 4. We could have 5. We could have 2. We could have 1. What do you think happens to our analysis when we've got more than one mode? Yeah. Say accurate, but the word I'm looking at really is representative. When I'm looking at analysing data, it's like, does that average, the median or the mode, represent the data well enough? If I've got 2 modes, quite often that's quite good. All right, it's called bimodal data. All right, and it can show me that I've got 2 peaks in the data. One mode is great, but only actually if it's significantly more than everything else. Because if I've got 15 of every number and then 16 of one number, is that a good mode? No, it's not really worth considering a mode, even though it is a mode. So this is where we start considering whether the mean, the median, or the mode, which one's worth looking at and why. We'll talk about that in the future. So we're looking at it, but I said to you, why would we want to line up all the numbers? Why have we got to be careful to do that? And that is part of it, by the way. What does it look like?
Oh, because then you could get confused, like, that might be 337.
No, I wouldn't say that. The fact that these numbers are lined up in columns doesn't mean that that's any different. I could spread that out and it wouldn't change the fact that 7 is 37. What if I did something like this? What do I start looking like?
Oh, averaging.
Bar graph.
A bar graph. Yeah. Do you notice how it turns into a bar chart? Where you can look at the height of the bar to tell me which group has the most in it? Well, I can do that the same. I've just got all the numbers. So normally in a bar chart, what I would have done before is in a bar chart you would see, well, you wouldn't see the numbers, so you wouldn't have any detail of what's going in. But if I leave the numbers in, I kind of have the benefits of a bar chart and the benefits of still seeing all the data.
Like, I thought about the bar chart earlier as like a reason why you might want to keep it in line, but then I thought, like, if you look at 1 and 2, like if you were to average them and create a bar, even though there's less in 1, it would still be higher than 2.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
When you add up all the numbers,
That's,
the 1 bar.
Yeah, well, again, that's where you talk about the limitations of grouping data.
okay.
Yeah. But if I were to work, so a bar chart normally, if I were to put another axis on, so let's say this is would be my x-axis, or what would the other axis be labelled as normally?
Noir.
But what do I call it?
Ooh, number of students.
What's
in
it
that
called
age.
then, instead of saying number of? It's frequency, isn't it? So that would be my frequency. So I would just know that there are more students
Okay, yeah.
in the 20 to 30 age group.
Yeah.
Now, unless I have the numbers, I don't know what their actual ages are. Things like doing the mean and stuff, which you are going to have to be able to do, you work out from group data, you'd be estimating because you wouldn't know all the data. But if I were to do a stem and leaf diagram instead, I kept all the numbers there, I could work out an accurate mean, and I've got more. When I interpret the data, when I write my conclusions and I do my analysis, I've got more detail, more information. So that's why a stem and leaf diagram can be more useful, if required, than just a bar chart. But sometimes it's not necessary to have all the information. You need to make that call. A lot of statistics is about you deciding what you need and what you don't need, which is why it's quite useful for politicians and things, where they only include the information they want to include. Businesses send out information about how good their products are, but they only use the information that's good for them, and they conveniently forget, perfectly allowable, they conveniently forget any of the stuff that they don't want to see, you know? So anyway, we've gone through stem leaf, how to do it, what the key means, how to work out the median and the mode. You know how to do the mean, you would just add all the numbers up. So that's it really. The rest of the questions, just basically the same, bit of practice. You all right to carry on? Yeah? Carry on then. Ethan wants to know. All right, so just looking at question 2 then. So how many numbers do we have?
18.
Okay, so if I want to find the middle number, everyone paying attention to this? I'm going to say it only once. If there are 18 numbers, what is the middle of 18 numbers? What's the middle number?
9.5.
It's not 9. If you divide by 2, you split it into 2 groups of 9.
Oh, yeah.
So that means the 9th number is in the first half, not in the second half. So it's not the middle. So this is why we do the add 1 and divide by 2. So what we can do, remember I said we take n plus 1 divided by 2. So in this case we will do 19 divided by 2 and we get 9.5, which means we need to find the 9th and the 10th numbers. Okay? So 9.5 falls in the middle of the 9th and the 10th numbers. So if you've already done all this, you find the 9th number is, anyone know already?
84.
9th number? 86.
I think it's 86, and the 10th number is
89.
89. So what's the middle of 86 and 89?
87.5.
It is 87.5. Okay. And this is what Thibaut was saying about finding the average, and I said about finding the mean. So we can do that by doing 86 plus 89 divided by 2, because you add them together, divide by the number of numbers, and you get 87.5. So this number here, the n plus 1 divided by 2, tells you which numbers to look at. You have to then go and look at the numbers and work out what the median is. Okay. I can tell you that quite often people get confused having said this kind of thing, and then they get 9.5 and they forget the next step and just write 9.5 as the median. You need to remember, well, can I ask you, if you're just paying attention to this one, this is an important thing about averages in general. If I were to give you an answer of 9.5 as the median, all right, and you said, no, you're wrong, and I said, tell me why I'm wrong, you should be able to tell me one very factual thing that says it cannot be 9.5, something that I can't argue with at all. Why can't 9.5 be the median?
Is 9.5 within the range?
Exactly. You've obviously done all this before. 9. What is the lowest number?
61.
61? And what's the maximum number?
103.
103. So the median, or any of the averages, must be somewhere between 61 and 103. The average, whichever one I choose, must represent that data. 9.5 in no way represents that data. You should always do a double check when you've worked out an average of any kind. Check that it is within the data range. 9.5 is way below it. It's got nothing to do with the data. That would make me think, oh, I've done something wrong or I've got something else to do. In this case, it was something else to do. So be very wary of that. Right. I want you all to do this something for me now. So on the front of your booklet, okay? So for your purposes, I want you, you've done stem and leaf, it's a bit of a recap. I want you to think about, you can discuss this, I want you to do 2 things for me. All right? I want a possible use and a limitation of stem and leaf diagrams. So try and be specific. So what limitation could be? What situation could I be in where, no, I'm not going to do a stem and leaf diagram, it's not useful. All right? And when would you think, yeah, now I'm in a position I should use a stem and leaf diagram, that would be great for my work. Why would I want to? What would make me not want to use it? The 2 things there. you think of that. All right.